straight into it. All right. So 26th of March, it's been 2 weeks. This is what we've done. This is what we've released in the last 2 weeks. We've done a merging of the two sections. So if it's somewhere you've looked at recently, you would have seen that instead of being roles and data access, it's now just roles and it's all merged into one. This is the first step of a broader project that we're working on to greatly improve the permissions and access settings that are available and to be much more flexible in allowing you to control what your staff can and can't see. So that was just the first step that we had to make. So that's the first step. I'll show that to you in a second. Scheduler UI updates. So we've updated the UI a bit, the user interface a bit on the scheduler. So we've added a filter section, and we've got some more coming on that too. I'll explain that when I show that to you. But that's pretty cool, the updates that they're doing on that. Facility forms. So we've finished the work to link if you have a facility and you assign a form to the facility, it will then add it to existing to shifts that you create on the facility. Mandatory progress notes. I'm sure you guys all saw that. I put the message up and noticed that it keeps popping up all the time as well. I'm trying to work out how to stop that from happening. But yes, you can now set it so that your carers have to leave a progress note, and if they don't, they can't clock out. I personally have never been a huge fan of it. I think that if they're not going to write a progress note, they're not going to do it. And if they want to clock out, they've got to clock out. But you guys all wanted it, and everyone seems to be really happy with it. So I'll be keen to see how that goes for you guys, and whether you just instead now see, instead of no notes and people clocking out, you just see no notes and no one clocking out now. So I'll be interested to see how that goes. Configurable invoice due dates. So before, you used to be able to only set it to 7 or 14 days. You can now actually just put in a number. So you can say 21 days or 5 days or 3 days. So yeah, that's pretty cool. We've added a really cool feature that you can set it so that it will only invoice shifts that you've approved. So I'll run over that a bit. So I won't go into too much details, but I'll show you that because there was some other changes with that were pretty cool as well. So we'll go over that in a sec. We've added a day tag to invoice lines, so you're able to show that it was a Monday or a Tuesday or a Wednesday. So that just shows what day it was on the invoice, if that's what you want. We added a total hour quantity for invoices. So at the bottom of the invoice, it'll just give a total number of hours of services that you provided. Just a little extra info there. We've added some more APIs in relation to shifts, timesheets, and client endpoints. I'll talk a bit to the APIs as well when I get to this, when I'm doing the demo. Apple Calendar integration. So as you guys know, we may have, or you may know that we added a Google Calendar integration. We've now got an Apple Calendar version of that as well. I'll explain how to make sure that's on for your carers. Proda exports updates. So we've improved both of our integrations. So we have a direct integration with Proda as well as a file download version. Both of them were struggling to deal with the new split payment types that we had, and it wasn't really doing it properly. So now it will, if you are using a payment type, it will now only export invoices or line items and stuff, or invoices that had that as the payment type. So that should be working really well now. We also, anyone that's using Employment Hero on PayCat will like this. We have a automatic leave sync now. So you used to have to go in and hit the export button every time someone added leave in Employment Hero PayCat, and that would bring it in as unavailability into ShiftCare. You can now just turn it on, and anytime a staff member is approved for leave in Employment Hero or PayCat, it will create the unavailability straight away in ShiftCare. So no more button pushing. So yeah, that's what I've got today. Let me bring up What did I just close? No, that's okay. Let me come here. Let's go into ShiftCare. Let me move that over here so I got something to reference. So I'll start from the start again and quickly go through each one. So permission role redesign. So let's go down to account and roles. So now it's just all in roles. It shows you your base roles and your custom roles. Now, just to give you a bit of an explanation to everyone, we do have this sort of underlying issue that we need to address, which is that you can't customize the base roles. And so that's why we kind of separate them out like this into custom roles and base roles. We're hoping that the part of this project is to just have the concept of I don't want to have to make new roles. I just want to edit the existing coordinator role and just change what they can and can't see. So we are looking at that as well, but that's why we have custom roles. So one thing I would say to you is if you are looking at this setting and you sort of go, okay, I've got staff that are on the coordinator role and it's set as a base role. When you click the edit button, it'll let you do some stuff, but not a lot. Like I think you can change this section here, but this section here is not available yet. So you can't edit any of this stuff. And so you might think, oh, there's not much I can do. But if you go on into a current custom role while you're waiting for us to do this, you actually have much more permissions that you can set for reports and settings and medication management and stuff like that. So it's worth looking at the custom roles if you're trying to. Like, I'm not saying it's amazing. Like, there's still a lot of stuff you can't do, but we're working on that to thing. Neil wants to be a host as well. How do I do that, Neil? Good question. Bear with me a second. That would be good, Neil. Thank you. Neil has jumped on our guy. Promote to panelist. How's that? Can you do it now, Neil? I'll let you work it out. Cool. There he is. Hey, buddy.
Hey, hey.
I
Um,
didn't know you were coming.
yeah, always, never miss these. I'll just jump
Ah,
in on
nice.
some of the questions that are coming in.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, mate. Um, So yeah, have a look at the custom role side. Because yeah, I think you're and as we start rolling out more permissions, just so you know as well, we are looking at client stuff first. So the ability to within a client to actually say, well, it's not just like going into the profile. I want to say that they can see the demographic detail, but they can't see the additional contacts or they can't see funds and care plans and all that. So you'll be able to like fully decide which parts of the client profile they can and can't see. That's where they're starting with, but it's a big project, like I said, and there'll be a work in progress as we go. Okay, scheduler updates. So if we go to the scheduler, we have a filter up here now. And so you're able to filter by clicking on these and then choosing one. So it's a bit of an upgrade to the old one. It used to be like separate bars up here, so we've combined them all. And the idea with this too is that we can continue to add more. So I know that the team are working on filters. You guys will love this. By the way, I love it when people tell me in the chat what they love and everything, but the ability to like filter and say, I want to see shifts that have shift notes on them or have shifts that don't have shift notes on them. I want to see shifts that they've clocked in, but they haven't clocked out or, things like that. Being able to see only unpublished shifts instead of just published or published and unpublished at the same time, things like that. So those are the things that they're working on now to add to these filters. So yeah, hopefully we'll see them in the coming few days. Anonymous loves the mandatory clock out. Awesome. Yeah, that's cool. All right, what's next? Facility forms. So, like I said, facilities, if you do sills or any other sort of uh, group homes or anything like that, facilities is definitely something you should start looking at and start implementing, at least if you're setting up new ones. I would definitely get going on that. But yes, you can attach a form to a facility that will then, when you create a shift in that facility, auto assign that form to the facility as well, to the shift. So the idea is it's usually like facility based um, stuff. So, like smoke alarm detection, things like that. Um, yeah, Roshan's asking, is it fully functional? So, I mean, it depends what you say fully functional is. Like, I think it's functional enough now. Like when we first released it, it really didn't do much except just put a facility on it, and you can maybe do uh, a little bit of like filtering in the scheduler, but not a lot. Like there was a scheduler view, and that was it. But now we have the ability to so instead of just changing to facility here, you can stay in the staff and client, but you can also filter by facility. That was added recently, so that makes it a lot more functional from a scheduler perspective. But also, a lot of the functions we're starting and we're continuing to work on it, so we haven't finished. But we've had it so that forms get attached. We've got attachments, so if you add attachments, that will automatically get attached to the shifts as well, automatically, and they're just finishing on tasks now. So having tasks like that um, for things like assigning forms, tasks, and more complex things. So yeah, like I say, so the forms is the one that they've just done. So that should be going. Attachments are done, and tasks are coming next. So it shouldn't be too far away, hopefully. But yeah. Um, Okay, what else we got? Mandatory progress notes. We spoke about that. That's pretty straightforward. Anyone that's missed it, you go to account and settings. That's where your note headers are. And then you've got the progress note headers, and then you've got mandatory. You can enable it, and then minimum word count. You can enable that and put the number of words on it. By the way, all the other ones you can just click on, but these ones apparently you need to click the edit button to do it. So just click that edit button first, and then hit save down the bottom. I don't know why they did that. I'll ask. Um, cool. I'm just looking at that question from Andre. Can you show shifts where particular NDIS codes are used? That's a good question. So yeah, I assume you're talking about the scheduler and the filtering. Um, I would say like no is the answer right now. Like it doesn't, there's no filter by code. I like price books. That would be kind of cool. I'll definitely raise that with the team. I think in the meantime though, if you're kind of clever with the way you do shift types, like I would generally suggest if you have access community that you put the shift type as access community. So in a way that could do it. But yeah, I guess you're getting right down to the granular as like when am I charging the Saturday code and when am I charging the evening code for a Thursday shift or something. So yeah, that's not a bad idea. I'll have a look and see whether there's any thoughts on doing that. Um, cool. Configurable invoice due days. So yeah, I'll show you the two things with the invoices. So you can set the due days now when you go to edit, you can just type in a number now. That used to be just a drop down 7 and 14 days. So you can just type in what you want. And then up here in the invoice line item default format. So most of you probably already know this, but you can configure how your invoice displays like shows the line items and you can move tags around. So it just uses tags for all the different information. And you can now add a tag for shift day. So that just puts in like I said, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever day it is on the shift, if that's what you want to show. Approved shifts only. Okay, so this is a setting we added down here, invoice approved shifts only. When you turn that on, it's only going to, when you generate invoices, it's only going to generate invoices for shifts that have been approved. So if we go to the scheduler and we have a look here, none of these shifts have been approved. In fact, some of them haven't even been published. So only these two here are going to show up anyway because only published shifts show. Now, these two are approved, but are published, but they haven't been approved. So if I go to do the invoicing for the 24th to the 25th, so let's go in and do that. So you'll see here that it's showing two errors here now. Now, actually funny that part of this feature did something that I've been asking for a very long time, and I'm more excited about that than I am about the fact that you can turn this setting on, is that we're now showing warnings on this screen before you do your invoicing to show you that there's shifts that have a problem. And this isn't just for non-approved shifts. This is for like shifts that have the wrong price book on them. You know, like if you say you had a price book that doesn't have any Saturday pricing, but you put the shift on a Saturday and it's not going to invoice, it'll tell you with a red warning now, so you can actually go in and fix up the shift. So that's been something I've been calling for a very long time, because you didn't know unless you manually checked, and you could just miss shifts all the time. So yeah, that's an awesome little improvement. So when you go in there now, it'll show you that the shift is pending approval. This still shows even if you don't have that setting on. They asked whether we should show it or not show it. I thought any extra information is good. It doesn't matter that it's not approved, but some people, their workflow is to approve shifts. So the fact that it wasn't approved is worth at least looking at. So that's why that shows. But if you're a business that doesn't approve your shifts, then you don't have to do anything. It's just additional information. So yeah, that's that setting. It's a pretty cool setting actually. I like it. Day tag we did show our total quantity for invoices. So that was in the invoice settings page, and it just adds a line to it. In fact, why don't I quickly, let's go settings, invoice settings. Let's turn that on. Let's turn that off. Let's go back to invoices and generate, and we'll generate an invoice. So you can see down the bottom, so because I did 3 shifts and 2 plus 1 is 4, shows the total hours of 4. If you like it, you can turn it on. If you don't care, you can leave it off. Totally up to you. API improvements, and I think I saw a question about API there somewhere. Yeah, are there any plans on the roadmap to update the API? You can't access shift progress notes. So yeah, great question, Sky. And that's why I said when I was going through the list, I wanted to talk about the API, because I can't really show you the API. Like it's like pretty programmable. I don't even know how to do API calls myself, but first thing I want to make sure everyone that's in this call knows that if you're on a premium or enterprise plan, and you've been a customer for more than a couple of months, you can have access to our APIs. You just need to put in a request to our support team, and we'll be able to enable that for you. Need to be very clear though that we don't provide support for APIs, in that if you're having an error message come back because you're not putting the right data in, then we can't help you with that. You'll need to engage a dev or someone internally to make sure that you have the understanding of how to use the API. Of course, if there's actually a bug or an issue with the API, we'll look at it. But yeah, we just need to be mindful now that we're letting more people access the API, that it's very much a self-serve service. Now, we are also, now that we're letting more people use the API, and we're seeing, I mean, this is all sort of related to the surge of AI and needing to tackle in other programs into your data so that you can run workflows and things like that. We're seeing a massive increase in this, and we understand why. It's pretty exciting times at the moment, but that means that that yeah, more people are asking for access, and then we're finding that a lot of the API calls that they need aren't there. So Sky's brought up that I need to access shift progress notes via the API, which you can't at the moment. We are actively working on adding APIs every day. We're adding more APIs. That's why I mentioned these 3 that we added now, and I didn't go specifically into what the APIs were. I thought it was a little bit too technical, but it's all updated on our API documents. So you can always revisit the API documents to see what calls you can and can't make. But essentially, we are definitely adding the progress notes, because I had another customer ask that yesterday, and I confirmed. I think middle of April is the current ETA on that, Sky. So, but yeah, we're adding more and more APIs. Certainly things like being able to create shifts shifts through the API as well as something that's going to be coming. So yeah, there's a bunch of really exciting stuff there. Um, for me personally, I get a bit excited to think about, once we get all this AI stuff working really well, being able to plug your API in and say, hey, here's a roster of care, and you upload an Excel spreadsheet and say, create a roster in ShiftCare for that, and it'll be able to just build your shifts for you. I feel like that's where the future goes. That's just a personal opinion of mine. We'll see how that all plays out and where it all goes, but I think it can be pretty exciting. Cool. What's next? Apple Calendar integration. So we have added that. If you don't know how that works, it's pretty straightforward, but you do need to turn it on. So you need to go down to your account and then integration and browse, and you need to make sure that you've enabled both the Apple Calendar and the Google Calendar. Enabling it doesn't require you to connect or anything. You're essentially just saying, I allow my staff to use this integration, because there is, you do need to factor in the fact that it will be putting personal data of your clients on their phone. So if they're using an Apple calendar, they're using Google or whatever, and they've got their own calendar, the calendar will be getting an event that has the client's name, address, all that kind of stuff on it. So you need to make a decision on your company and how you're going to deal with that, and whether that's within your policies, and whether you do have policies on how that all works and everything. So that's why we don't just turn it on and have it there for staff. You need to say, yes, I allow my staff to use this integration. Cool. Proda exports. There's nothing really for me to show you there. It's just working a lot better now. Just in case people don't know as well, I'll quickly just mention, not sure whether I've covered this recently, but you can now, if you have a client that's both plan managed and NDIS managed, you can, on your price books that you assign to a client, gee, the client page is getting long. Where's my price books? Have I got support at home turned on? Yes, I do. That's why. Let's turn that off. So when you go down to the price books section, you can set a payment type on your price books. So here on this client, I have agency managed for self-care and I have plan managed for access community. So what that means is that when I go to do my invoicing, I can then select to invoice by payment type. So when you go group by, you can choose payment type, and it will create two invoices. So you can see here for Robert De Niro that there's two separate invoices, one for each, and then you can send the agency managed to the NDIS through the Proda portal and send the plan manager invoice to the plan manager. So that's what that is. PayCat automatic sync, just a button to show you essentially, if you're not using Employment Hero or PayCat, please look at it. It really is going to change your life in terms of how quickly you can do your payroll and accurately you can do your payroll. And we've been spending a lot of time making sure that our integration is as seamless as possible. But yes, you can go to the import leave, and now you can enable an automatic sync, and then that will automatically do it for you as soon as any approved leave comes in. And that just adds it as unavailability. Okay, that's the end of my list. Let's go through questions and chuck in as many questions as you like. Any updates on sleepover shipping, one shift rather than 3 individual shifts? Glenn, that's a great question. So the team are working currently on awake tracking. They decided to do that first. Essentially it is, if a staff member, when you create a sleepover, it will then allow the carer on the carers app to be able to say that they got woken up and performed work during their shift, and they can put the times in that they did that. And then from there, on the timesheet, you'll be able to see that a wake time was added. It will then show a list of all the times that were logged, and you can approve them. And I think they've even added some AI where it reads the notes that they do and gives you like a determination of whether they really woke up or they're just chucking it on there for whatever reason. So that's just a little extra bit because we've got to have AI on everything now. So that's really cool. It will also like automatically add the allowances that you need if you're using Zero, and also for Employment Hero and PayCat, whatever's needed for that. That's the progress. So it's still a work in progress. They started work on it, but there's still a fair bit of work to do with that one. So it's going to be a few, I would say at least a month or so for that. And then I believe after that, they're looking at the sleepover shift being 1 rather than 3. So that's where that's at. When scrolling down in the scheduler, the days of the week at the top disappears when nearing the bottom. Are you able to lock the row? It's a
Um,
good question.
no, so I that was the question that I wanted to answer, but because I was joined after. So when you go to here, there's two scrolling things. So there's the page and then there's the menu. See how you're scrolling now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not perfect, but it does it is
So
there.
if you scroll over the menu on the left-hand side, it moves the whole page down. But if you stay there and then just scroll inside the scheduler, it shouldn't drop.
Yeah. If
Yeah.
if
We should
you're
look at that. I feel like we can
well,
fix that.
if you use a trackpad like I do, eventually your fingers move off that bit. So
Yeah.
perfect, but it is there. The only thing is that I don't know what the solution would look like because you still need to browse the entire page. So I'm sure there's a solution for it, but just a little quick win there is to keep the slide in the middle.
Yeah. I can definitely see it's a little bit strange to use. We'll have a look at that. Okay, let me answer that. Answer that. Lots of questions. That's awesome. Um, can we have some topography in the client information section? There is where we build out our care plan on the professional plan, but it would be good to be able to add some dot points. Yeah, so the I assume you're talking about like the need to know and stuff like that. I've definitely written up a scope to have the developers look at that. I think it was just a matter of getting some priorities, like getting through some work and doing that. But it's definitely on the cards to have essentially what I call like the WYSIWYG editor. So being able to put dot points and bold and underlined and a larger font and all that kind of stuff, and then having it show in the app better as well. So it's definitely on the cards. I don't have a date for you though on that one. In the client section, it still has an update showing at the moment, even when you update the information. Is this an error? No. That was done by choice, believe it or not. So uh, essentially, it's like if you change something and then you hit update, it's going to update it. But if you don't hit update, it's not going to change anything. I have already I didn't want it to be like that in the first place, but we kind of had to just the situation where we launched the dashboard and it was referencing fields that were in the new screen. So they're going back to that now and updating this so it goes back to the original clicking an edit button and then it goes into edit mode and then clicking save to save it after you go into the edit mode. So that'll be coming soon. I'm not sure. I'll follow up on that today and see where that's at. Is there a way to archive areas or will facilities become available to pro subscriptions? I don't think facilities will become available to pro subscriptions. There is a way to archive areas, but like most people that are in this webinar won't know what we're talking about because it's like a pretty older version of ShiftCare. It's kind of like our original facilities in a way. But yes, there is a way, but you have to contact support if you do want to archive an area, just because it can be pretty dangerous if you've got shifts on that area still and stuff like that. So yeah, reach out to us or feel free to shoot me an email about this topic, paul@shiftcare.com. Is there a way to update? Is there an update on the way to customize the mileage screen on the staff app? E.g., they can only add transport kilometers and not change the travel time. Yeah, Samantha. Yeah, yeah. So look, bottom line, I talk about this quite often, but I helped design the current advanced mileage, and in my mind, it was the perfect feature, right? And look, in a way, it is in that it does everything you need it to do technically. But the big failing of it is that it requires the staff member who's putting the mileage in to put the right thing in, and that was probably the biggest thing that we failed on that because they don't understand what they're doing and they're putting the wrong numbers in, or they put the same number in 4 times, and yeah, it's a real nightmare. And then it's hard to edit it. So look, we've been working on a massive mileage project for the last couple of months. It is very exciting. It's essentially they won't be entering kilometer numbers. They'll be just saying, I'm either doing travel to the shift or I'm in the shift doing travel with the client. And then they will be able to GPS track. So they start the trip, the phone is going to monitor where they drove. And then it's going to add the mileage and give you a map and show you everything automatically. They'll be able to do it multiple times on a shift. We're still like it's sort of functional at the moment. We're ironing out. We've got someone testing it for us, so it's not far away from a point where I actually am going to be asking some providers to trial it for us if it fits their needs. It's a big project though, so it's going to be a while. We're also having the idea of an asset register for vehicles, so you'll be able to assign a company vehicle to the shift. They'll be able to then say that they're using a company vehicle or a private car. If they put private, it'll add a mileage allowance to it automatically. It'll tell you if they change it from company to private, and you can check it. There's a whole bunch of it. It's a really, really cool feature. It's a huge feature. So, bit of a sneak preview into that. But I'll, as soon as we get some more concrete info on where that's at, we'll be talking about that more for sure because it's very exciting. Is there any ETA on EMA to be used for split shifts? Yes. Other like I don't have an exact date for you, other than to say that it's in the current work that's being done. So I'm hoping that in the slides in the next couple of weeks, I'll be able to say that it's here. But yeah, I can just tell you it's certainly being worked on at the moment. Yeah, Roshan, I just spoke about that before. Um, that was a good example. Can grant more tabs at the top of pages so we don't need to scroll so far. Yeah, agreed. I think the client page is getting incredibly long. At least like, I don't know, some buttons to click to jump you down the page or something. Certainly probably need to have a look at the UI. I think we've just been tacking on things for new projects. And so we're getting to a stage now where we need to rethink about the client page and how that looks. Is there a way to make centralized messaging inbox so that staff can contact off staff, like rostering office staff, so they can be actioned by all the admin team in case someone is away and we don't see it? It would be great to have a broadcast channel too. Yeah, so look, the broadcast channel, like I think that there is a general chat, right? But the problem is that everyone can chat in it, and then all of a sudden you've got 100 staff just chatting away and everyone's getting pinged and it's the worst. It's a nightmare. So I think that's already on the cards. Like again, it's in our list of things to do to make an option to say only admins can message to that channel, like to be able to do that. I think that the messaging inbox so that staff can contact the office staff, I think I'm not sure whether we've got something. I mean, I'm just sort of thinking you could make up teams and stuff, but then that's just another big shared thing. So I'm not sure whether we're doing anything on that. Yeah, I'll ask the question and see if it's something that we can look at. Thanks for the idea. Can we have more staff records per page so we don't have to go back and forth between pages? Is that on the when you go to staff list? Are we talking about? Because you can increase it to like 100 down there. If let me know if that's what you meant or whether you meant, oh, did you mean on the scheduler maybe? Look, I think one of the challenges with the scheduler, and any of our customers that are really big will tell you that it already takes a while to load when you've got a lot of shifts and stuff like that. And so the developers have been very clear that they won't increase the number of staff that it shows on the page because it just will not load for a lot of our clients. So we do, again, it's probably time for us to relook at some of this stuff and see whether we can make it a bit more performant, and then maybe there's options for that. But at the moment, yeah, it's unlikely that we're going to increase the number of staff that you can see on the scheduler page. In the demographic detail, it requires an NDIS number, even if it's a support at home client. Is there any way to change which one appears? That's a good question. I didn't know it required an NDIS number. Let me check. Yeah, it doesn't look like it requires it, but I get what you're saying. Like it's at the top of the list. Can I have it so that if they're a care plan, a support at home customer in aged care, that is showing the aged care number here instead? Um, I'll pass that as feedback. I think like right now, there's no option to do that, but I think that's a fair piece of feedback. Um, Advanced mileage, it has made it a long process when approving timesheets. Yeah, absolutely. Especially because you can't see the mileage without going into edit and advanced edit. And we did this a whole new mileage. I've been watching the designs, I've been talking to them, like you've got to be able to see everything from the timesheet page. Like we're making sure we get this right. So that's why it's already been a couple of months in development, and it'd probably be a couple more months because we just want to make sure we get this one right. Yeah, it was scheduler. Yeah, I thought so, Vicky. Is there a direct person I can talk to about training in ShiftCare? New to ShiftCare, but the company isn't and haven't been using it much as I can be. Yeah, look, I did a 2 hour webinar yesterday that I hope that you got an email and an invite in in ShiftCare popping up telling you that I was doing this webinar because it was supposed to go to all new staff that started. But it'll be up on YouTube soon. Um, it's called Getting Started with ShiftCare because we had a really old one that was 4 years ago. Um, and then, yeah, it hasn't been updated in ages. So check it out once it's up on YouTube. So keep an eye on it. And also don't forget to always check our webinars. Because I'm doing a lot more webinars at the moment. Um, I'm I'm sort of making sure that they're going to start keeping this page up to date, but essentially, you'll be able to come here and see any webinars that I have coming up, as well as the recent webinars. So check this page in the coming days because they're just going to trim the video a bit and get it up onto YouTube, and then they'll add it here to the recent webinars. It's called Getting Started with ShiftCare. It's a 2 hour webinar that goes through like the basics of ShiftCare into some more like understanding the what some of the features are and all that. But it's pretty much just a lot of it is like go and see our articles on that because I can't in 2 hours go through every feature in ShiftCare. It was a very long webinar as it was, but definitely use our help desk help.shiftcare.com and look for articles as well as our support team. Yeah, so the support team is the way to go. In terms like so you got the live chat down the bottom of ShiftCare. That's your starting point. With training, we've got to be mindful that we have 7,000 account holders, and so we're not able to give one-on-one training to every customer. But of course, if you're really struggling and you've been through support and you've read the articles and you've watched all the webinars and videos that I've done and you still need some help, there's of course ways to get a hold through the support team of someone. So hopefully they'll be able to help you out. Are there how-to videos for support workers ready? Are the how-to videos for support workers ready yet? So look, we do have a support a video on how to use the app. It's a little bit old, so it doesn't have all the newer things on it, but we did add a new one, but it was designed first. It was created first for the US team, for the US. The only reason I mention it is because we're going to update it with a Australian. It's essentially just got an American accent. That's the only thing that makes this American. So if I were you, I would just use this and put up with an American accent for now, and then we'll update it and get an Australian accent on it. But yeah, this is the video. It's really, really good. It's got all the current features in there and everything. So yeah, just look up ShiftCare app and you'll be able to find that and share that with your staff. Didn't get it. Oh yeah, sorry you didn't get an invite to my webinar. I know we can add fields in the client info page, though it seems to be an open text only. Yeah, so we're going to update that and make sure that goes back to an edit page. This would really help with generating reports. I'm not sure what that's in reference to. Is it possible to have a digital ID for support staff in the app, or maybe a QR code they can scan to verify to clients? Yeah, this was something that was discussed a while back. I don't know where
We
we're
talked
at.
about not the QR code, but the ability to have
Like
like
an ID, yeah.
so when you go into the mobile app now, in the top left-hand corner, when you click on the menu, it's got your photo, your name, and your email address. We're just going to expand that out so that when you click on it, it's got a bit more information. Essentially, it's not going to be too fancy, I guess. There'll be a section somewhere in the staff profile where you can fill out the information that they need to see there. So there'll be like places for a unique staff ID or something along those lines. So no ETA for that yet, but it's been requested. It's in the roadmap. So as soon as that's live, Paul or I'll make sure we get it out in the webinar.
Any updates on the client compliance report yet? No, no. I don't think that's. I'm just trying to think. I'll have to, Mandy. I'll have to check in on that. I haven't spoken about that for a little while. Feel free to shoot me an email to remind me, and I'll get back to you and let you know what the plans are with that.
Is that going past the client full report?
I think they want like the matrix like we have for the staff report, you know, how you can see with colors and who's got
Oh,
what
yeah.
documents and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool,
Yeah.
cool.
It would be great. With training, we've been asked by ShiftCare if some local providers can come look. We've asked by ShiftCare if some local providers can come have a look and chat with us about the platform as they wanted to use it. I would ask if there's anyone locally that could help you. We have made some great networks by assisting and giving feedback to them on what works and doesn't work for us. Yeah, that's a cool idea. Shoot me an email, Duncan. We can have a chat about that, and yeah, I can see what we can do depending where you are and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, when we press the three lines near the ShiftCare logo, it removes the side menu but doesn't make the scheduler any wider. Is it possible to do that when we're wanting to expand the screen? That's funny.
Um, it does for me. Oh, actually, good point. It doesn't.
Yeah, right. It kind of just makes the. Oh, it's so see how I can't see Sunday when I'm zoomed in. But then if I click it, I can see Sunday. So, but if I zoom out,
I just checked mine. Mine's an ultra wide monitor, and so it's just
yeah.
it's as wide as it goes. But when it's smaller, it does do that. So it could just be the resolution on the screen that you're using.
Oh yeah,
Um,
it just slides the whole thing over and makes it a white space there. That's funny.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay. We can look at that as well. That might be, like I said, you know, at some stage we're gonna have to sort of do a revamp of the scheduler page and make sure it's all up to date. Duncan, this is great. Is there anyone here in Adelaide that would be happy to chat? Great to see how others are using ShiftCare. Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I think we're always open to everyone chatting with each other. We've got the Facebook group as well. There's a ShiftCare users Facebook group where people can chat with each other. But I think, yeah, if everyone chats and tells everyone what they're doing and how they do stuff, it's always great to do that.
It's
Um,
a good place for that as well.
yeah. And ShiftCare Connect's a great place when we do ShiftCare Connects to meet other people and chat. We've always invoiced to the plan manager, and they come back to us saying it needs to be the client, and the plan manager is to be in the reference. Our reference comes up as the participant's NDIS number. Can we add another reference number to automatically put the plan manager's details? Depends where you're sending the invoice from, and yeah, Megan, maybe send me an email of that because if you're using the zero integration, there's a different answer to if you're using different or if you're sending from within ShiftCare and stuff like that. Um, yeah, I'll be happy to have a chat with you about that specific to your account, and we'll see what we can do. Um, with the client details page, can we select what order the client info customized headings need to know information are placed? I don't think you can at the moment. Would be something that would be nice. Let me just check. Yeah, no, you can't. I know that you can in the note headings when you go manage. I'm pretty sure you can like move them around. Oh, no, you can't either. Oh, edit order. Yeah. Yeah, so maybe we need a, is there not an edit order on that one? Yeah, I don't know why they didn't do an edit order on that one. I'm not sure what order does it go. I think it might go in the order that you add them. I'm not too sure. I'll need to have a bit of a dig in on that and have a look, but yeah, we'll see what we can do there. Is there a ShiftCare user group? Yeah, well, there is on Facebook. There's a Facebook group called ShiftCare users. So if you just search for ShiftCare users, I think it'll come up on Facebook. Um, yeah, can we have a universal contact so that we don't have to always add contacts? Yes, please. That would be
Mm.
amazing. And also like plan managers and stuff, right? You've got the same plan manager on 10 different clients. You've got to enter it in 10 times on the clients. Let me see if I can get that looked at in some sort of recent time frame. That would be amazing. With public holidays that are region specific, is that done via price books or adding a custom public holiday? Yeah, look, yeah, pretty much, and it can be tricky if you like I'm in Brisbane, right? And you've got the ECA public holidays, and it goes by council areas, and so you might be in one area and then in another area in the same day, and one's a public holiday and one's not. Um, there's two ways to do it. You can either process your invoicing for the clients that are in the area that don't have a public holiday and do that first, and then add the public holiday after, and then process the invoices. Um, or you can add a custom price book that's called public holiday and put that on the shifts that are on the public holiday. It's a little bit tricky. It's one of those things. It's kind of very like it doesn't happen to everyone, and it's not always a big issue, but yeah, it is an issue if it's an issue, if that makes sense. Uh, we're previously using EMAR feature. Unfortunately, since rostering has started adding split times to shifts, this is now cancelled out EMAR. Is there something that will be updated? Yeah, they're currently working on that whole like either group shifts or split shifts. So I would expect an update hopefully by the next webinar I do, but might need a bit of testing and stuff like that. Um, is there any chance of the date change of the client document expiry report be extended to more than 2 weeks? Um, Client document expiry report. I didn't know that that had that limit. Let me have a look.
It's
Reports.
the, I think we're talking about the shortcuts at the top. It says next 7 days, next 30 days. You can change the date range, I think, to be as long as you like. Well, not as long as you like, but it's the quick hit buttons, I assume we're talking about here.
Yeah, you should still be able to. Like if I go 1st of March to the 11th of October, that should still work. Oh, cannot exceed 2 months. There you go.
Ah, you
There'll be a
cannot.
reason why they did that. Like that they have to actually write code to make it do that, right? So there'll be a reason why they did that, but I can ask the question, but generally it's because um they are trying to limit the amount of data that gets surfaced, like, and because it's all pulling on their database and everything like that. Um, yeah, I'll ask the question, but I would say that they've probably put that for a reason. But yeah, so feel free to like send me an email and explain to me why that's important to you and what that's stopping you from doing and what you're doing, and then I can kind of use that as a discussion point with them to why we need to change that. Can you tell us what sort of feature changes are coming soon? Well, I've kind of been doing that through the webinar. I don't generally like to just start rattling off the stuff that we're planning because things change so quick at the moment. And you would have noticed that throughout this webinar, I've been talking about all the different stuff that we're working on. So everyone's asking for different features, and some of it we're working on, some of it not. Everything is just very fluid at the moment. Things are moving really fast. So generally, we don't sort of discuss the roadmap too much. There is one feature I wanted to show everyone. Actually, we've got 10 minutes left, and I don't know if anyone's noticed, but up in the top left of my dashboard, it says care signals.
Mm.
So it's the third one down here. It says care signals. So this is the latest and greatest feature. I gave a little bit of a preview on it in a webinar I did the other day on incidents and forms. But essentially, this is a super exciting feature. What happens is you've got your staff filling out progress forms, progress notes. They're adding progress notes to shifts. Now, sometimes we know that staff add progress notes and they probably should have raised an incident, right? Like it was an event happened or something happened during the shift that was of concern. Or it's not even just that. It's like it's something that you should be aware of as a manager or an owner, that happened or that something's happening. And so what this feature does is it reads every progress note that you send through, that your carers send through. It uses flags to identify concerns, and then it flags them for you to act on. So the flags are customizable. When you turn this on, when we turn this on for everyone, you don't need to do anything per se. It will like it's good to go from the moment we turn it on, and it will automatically start flagging stuff for you. But if you do want to customize it a bit, because maybe it's flagging too often on things that you're not too worried about, you can click on the configure button, and you can come in here and you can choose what are the flags that you can do. And so you can click on that, and then you can turn off certain flags. And then on the right hand side here, you've got the AI settings. So essentially there's keywords. That's one of the things it uses. So if any of the keywords get triggered, that'll help with it working it out. But the main thing is this rule description. So it's like a prompt that you put into AI, right? And so it will essentially tell you, it will work out what's going to prompt it, what it should use and what it shouldn't use. You can also adjust the sensitivity. So if you're finding that it's triggering off too much, you can choose that. We are adding further things to this where you can actually have it do workflows. So if a certain thing happens, I want you to create an incident report automatically, or I want you to SMS something or do something like that. So this is really, really cool. There's, if enable a rule when certain things happen. The other thing you can do is that when you do read one, so let's go through an example here. This is the progress note here, so I can open it up and we can see the keywords that triggered it off to do that. And then down the bottom here, it's got why was this note flagged? So it's got a review of why the AI thinks that you need to check over this note. And then you can also click on view original note so that you can see the shift that was on. And if you decide that you do want to confirm this as an incident, like, yes, this was an incident, should have been raised as an incident, then you can click on confirm as incident, and that will use our ticketing system. So you'll need to be on a premium plan for this portion of it. You won't need to be, and again, we haven't released it yet, so don't shoot me if this changes, but the current plan is that this will be available to all plans, but the premium features like this part now will be only for premium plans. So you can go to create a ticket, and what it does with the ticket is it will automatically put the actual note in here plus the flags. But now we've added a new enhanced ticket with AI, and essentially it will rewrite the ticket name and the ticket description and have a really structured, like, what happened, who was involved, what was the context, and what were the actions taken, so that you can then create an incident ticket from that and follow the process through like you were. That is that. So care signals only available on premium. No, it should be like that's the discussions we're having at the moment. We're still doing a bunch of dev on this, and it's not ready to go yet. But yeah, that's where we're at. Can we export progress notes for clients as CSV or PDF? Can we export progress notes for clients as CSV or PDF? Yes. So if you want to do it individually for clients, you can go into their profile and you can go to communications, and you can export as a PDF by putting a date range up the top here and hitting this export button. If you want to do it as a CSV, you can go to reports, and then go to events, and then go to details and put in a date range up here and export it to CSV, and it will export all your clients, and then you can filter it down by whatever you want and whoever you want to see. So yes, you can do that. Are there changes to the invoices total hours integrated to zero? I doubt that will go over to zero, because there wouldn't be a field on zero for that. So yeah, that'd be just if you're using ShiftCare to send the invoices, which I am aware that most people don't. So yeah. We use tasks to put in a client that has repeat doctor's appointments, other appointments. Is there a better way to put it in their file so that we can look at it in a glance, like a calendar or a list to see what's coming up? Um, Probably not at the moment. It's a good idea. It's something we've sort of talked about before, but we've never really come up with a solution or prioritized it yet. But yeah, something for us to keep thinking about. But I think yeah, you're probably right on the I can't think off the top of my head on the spot of a better way of doing that. Would there be an option that could show that current staff on a shift that they could look at to see who is next with the client and time? Look, at the moment, we don't do that. We're pretty, the only way you'd be able to do that is by putting it in the instructions or something on the shift or sharing a roster with them. We don't at the moment show other notes. By the way, any of this feedback, guys, don't forget we've got feedback.shiftcare.com. You can put your ideas in, vote on other people's ideas. The ones that get voted up and the ones that get the most attention will get our attention. So, because as you can see, even in this session, we're getting a lot of questions and a lot of feature requests and stuff like that. So, we can't do everything for everyone. So, we need to know what's the important stuff to you guys. When his care signals come out, we'd love to start advertising that we have this level of oversight for client welfare and aged care. Love that. Look, I'll tell you what. Yeah, I'll put that into the. Let me put that into the chat. It's feedback.shiftcare.com. Definitely check it out. Vote up ideas. We launched it not that long ago, so it needs more ideas in there. So please do vote them up. Uh, I'm going to regret doing this, but shoot me an email, paul@shiftcare.com, and say that you want to beta test the care signals for me, and I will get it turned on for you for a limited time, because we do need people. And be aware that when you sign up to a beta test, you're beta testing, right? So we're not promising it's going to work perfectly out of the box. There could be some weird stuff happening, but that's what we want you to tell us so that we can make sure it's good for everyone else. So if you're keen to get early access and you want to beta test it for us, shoot me an email and I can turn it on for you. Otherwise, I think it's going to be a week or two until it's fully done. Uh, Glenn's asking how do the permissions work? It's a good question. I think at the moment it's like currently coded to just be admins only. For the alerts, I think I saw, to be honest, I didn't even notice this until I started this webinar that they've added these settings things here, and uh, yeah, so it will tell you, it will, I don't know, notify roles, so you can choose who. So it looks like they're working on this at the moment. So yeah, like I said, this is actively being worked on. It's in early beta testing, so I can't give you all the answers yet, but yeah, hopefully more clear, more detail will come on that soon. Is there an option to stop receiving emails for old fund balances that went into negative? I mean, it shouldn't be sending. Megan, can you send me an email for that and just to remind me? I feel like someone has already told me about that and I forgot to follow it up. But it shouldn't be sending. It shouldn't be including them in if the expiry date is expired. If it's just that they went negative, like if it's still in date, then you probably need to update the fund and change the dates on it. But there is also like you can opt out of the email full stop. Like if you just don't want the email, you can just go to your own profile. Most email notifications are controlled in your own profile. So if you go to edit and then go to the subscribe to email categories, there's a low fund balance notification. You can turn that off. That'll turn off the email. But if it's just that specific, those funds, I mean, I agree. It shouldn't be sending if it's expired or something like that. So happy to look into that. Are there plans to update the text message function? We have clients and staff that are also with providers with ShiftCare, and because the messages come from the same number, they're getting a bit confused. Yeah, look, I don't think there's anything in plans at the moment. I think like the vibe that we kind of feel is that like SMSs are like the old school kind of way, and that we're trying to look at new tech and messaging and stuff like that. But I would still argue that there's plenty of people that still use SMSs, and it's a very important way of contacting. So put it in the feedback portal and let's get some votes on it, and then we can do it if it's important to our customer base. then anything's up for grabs to look at. All right, it's just ticked over an hour. I think we can pretty much wrap it up. Don't forget that this will be recorded and you'll be getting a copy of it. I saw Juliet's quickly asked, how do we turn off notification for progress nodes done because we have recently created mandatory progress nodes. So Juliet, that's the same section I was just showing you, right? So if you go into this edit section here and you've got your notifications, you just need to turn off notes. That's the progress notes. I don't know why they just call it notes there, but yeah, that's it there. So if you turn that off, you'll stop getting that email. I can tell you now, most staff turn that off. It's one of the first things they do because it's very noisy, that one. So yeah, jump in and maybe look at any of the other notifications you're getting. We love ShiftCare and the features are great. Thank you, Paul. Thanks for that. Yeah, the guys are working super hard. It's just chaotic at the moment. We're in a new age of like AI coding and stuff like that. And yeah, it's just incredible what they're punching out at the moment. So I think it'd be a really interesting space to watch SaaS platforms in general over the next couple of years with the emergence of AI coding and stuff. So yeah, it's exciting times, but it's busy. So thank you guys. Hopefully we'll be able to do a bunch of stuff that makes your life a lot easier and helps you to run successful businesses. Thanks, guys. Take care. I'll see you all soon.